What is today? The 8th?
8th.
1985. Cejka and Merta and myself here, John Cejka, we are going to review a film that is entitled simply Daniel, or, for those of you who don't understand the French, Daniel. Daniel in French, Danielle in French, and Daniel in English. So Jan was present at this, I don't know what you call it. What did you call it? Just a meeting, wasn't it, Jan?
It was a special demonstration.
And there are a number of, you go ahead and describe who's present here, Jan, a bunch of scientists.
Yes, the meeting was called by the Association for Psychic Phenomena in Montreal, and the star of the evening was a young man called Daniel. The people who were invited are members of that investigative group, which was sponsored by Association of Professional Psychologists, and mostly people are employees of University de Montreal and scientists from various walks of life trying to investigate paranormal. I happened to be at that time in Montreal, and they knew my interests, so I was invited to attend. Nobody knew what to expect, except that some unusual devices which devise the laws of physics will be demonstrated. The gentleman who introduced the evening is Mr. Gaston Brosseau. You can see him on a picture here. He's a clinical psychologist, chief of psychology at one of the Montreal hospitals. The Daniel, who will be a main performer and a star of this demonstration, is his patient for many years. Gaston knows him professionally for the last 10 years. As far as information he received about Daniel, he is 29 years of age, French-Canadian origin, all life lived in one area of Quebec, and for 15 years of his life he was in various type of institutions. And according Gaston, he is not fully recovered and is still being seen as a handicapped person, and under the Quebec law he then is not allowed to, because his handicap is mental.
That's Daniel there.
Yes, he's not really doing his own...
He's 29 years old, real nice looking young man, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Anyway, the Gaston is his guardian, and Daniel doesn't do anything on his own except via Gaston. And Gaston translates sort of some of his experiences, because Daniel, I guess, speaks in a very local joule, which is very hard to understand, even to people who speak French. And Daniel...
Is it a very poor French, Jan? Or?
Yeah, it's one of the dialects, you know, of a small region, and it's not really something you'll be taught in school, you know. Anyway, Daniel doesn't have any specific schooling, as I understand it, but he's a very intelligent young man, nevertheless. People, as you can see, are various age and sex. All are intensely listening and expecting something to see. There are people among them, Dr. Graf, who I work with for many, and a friend of mine, Chris Bird, who just happened to be visiting me, and I took him with me. Gaston is giving an introduction as to how it all came about, basically saying that...
This is Gaston then?
Yes, I've said so.
Yeah.
10 years ago, somebody told him that Daniel builds all kind of little things in his garage, and he paid no attention to it because he's really a psychologist, not an engineer. But then one day he sort of went and saw what Daniel built, and he was rather intrigued because it was obviously a very peculiar sort of contraption, and he since then tried to explain what Daniel is doing. His devices, which you will see demonstrated, were investigated on many occasions. According Gaston, there was at least 2,000 various individuals who have seen over the 10 years the Daniel things, and about 50 professional engineers who on various occasions investigated his devices. Engineers from, for example, Quebec, which is the largest hydro sort of outfit in Canada, spent considerable of time trying to build the same devices he built with Daniel assistance and advice, and they did incredible measurements on his units, and they all are, to say at least, baffled. The evening today was to demonstrate the devices again to the interested group of people in hope that with their special interest in a field and training they'll be able to unravel this mystery. Daniel is taking first of his devices he built, and it's a very simple perplex mounted circuit where you have a bulb, as he points just now, as you can see, flash bulb, then you have a battery source, a switch, and a wire. What is interesting about the wire is that there is only a connection from one side. The other side ends in an open circuit, and you can see these two coils are completely sort of...
Yeah, two coils here.
Non-connected, but nevertheless the unit is operational, and when Daniel switches it on, it simply works. Now, there are all kind of theories. People try to come out tuning, of the coils and all kind of things, magnetic conductivity of board. Anyway, all that was obviously many times disproved by the tests, as already mentioned, by all these different engineers. And problem is simply how the hell it works. Daniel clearly explained that as far as he's concerned, he does know himself, and that he builds it because he feels that that's how he builds it, it will work. And it has standard components in it which you can obtain in any Radio Shack, and most of it is salvaged from different junk material. You see, he switches it on and it lights, yeah?
Yeah, okay.
The bulb is on.
The bulb is on now.
And we had a free access to the board. You can see the people with sort of age and training. The RMA is pointing on a board, and just simply studying the first circuit.
See, there's only one wire off the bat, correct?
Well, there is two wires in that particular case. One goes via switch, which is in a series connection to the one end of the battery, the bulb socket, and the other wire goes and ends on the end of the coil.
Right.
Then there is a gap, and there is the other
There's
coil.
the battery, there's the bulb,
Yeah.
and there's the two coils here,
Yeah.
and a switch.
Yeah.
The wire comes out of the battery, to there, over to the coil,
Yeah.
I mean to the light, and to a coil, from this end of the battery to a coil.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and that's DC. And it's a very poor, I understood that somebody tested the battery and it was pretty dead.
Yeah, the voltages are really very low, actually. It's for practical purposes should be a dead battery, because voltage in that particle one, I remember the measure, it was about 1.05 volts or 1.
Yeah. Okay, now.
The next model he shows is really on a similar topic. In that case, instead of having a bulb there, he has a drive. So the little car is, again, battery source, The wheels are powered by electromotor DC one. Again, connection is via switch. Again, one end of the battery to the coil, other coil, wire to the switch, and back to the engine.
To the motor, yeah.
Yeah, and again, there is no connection between...
No completed circuit.
No, it's an open circuit.
An interrupted circuit with two coils sitting very loosely wound.
Very loosely cross-wired, and there is really no point to even speculate, because we try to insert all kind of things between the coil during the meeting. There's somebody with magnet, somebody had their metal pieces, piece of lead, and I mean that makes no effect whatsoever on operation of that.
Whether or not the motor works or work.
That's right. And then when you measure the actual voltages and everything, you know, it's all go properly. So when you switch off, you don't have it. When you switch on, you have it.
Even though the battery is tested and found to be of low voltage, when the voltage is checked at the motor, it's the correct voltage. Is that?
I guess it's a sufficient voltage to run the motor. Now, if we have a battery, it won't turn.
Yeah, right. In this particular case,
yeah.
If the battery is removed, in these particular two cases we just saw, the units will not work.
Only if you remove the battery, obviously it won't work at all. The point is, if you have your own model and you get a flashlight and put that battery into it, that voltage will simply not be sufficient to run it.
Right.
You need 1.5 volts, no?
Right.
The battery goes to 1.25, you throw it out, because that's when it is all dead. You cannot drain it more and still have any effect. Anyway, you can see it fascinates people because it's clearly evident that the circuit is open, and all what people can do is just to pass around to somebody else, because there is very little to do more. Daniel is waiting with other thing, and again, here you have two bulbs, you know, instead of a one, you know, mounted on a circuit board. And again, the two bulbs are operated by a similar way. You have an open circuit, so there is no real connection completed. There is a one switch which has two positions, left and right, and a central.
Yeah, there's the two coils.
Yes.
And a switch over there.
Yes.
Right. And a bulb there, right, is that?
There is nothing. Daniel shows there is absolutely zilch, you know.
Right. You folks will have to forgive Jan and I for that we did not take this tape, and had we taken the tape it would have been a little clearer here. We're just reviewing the tape, and
I hope it doesn't take your arm and all that.
No, I don't think I'm in the shot, Jan.
No, I hope so. Anyway, as you can see on that model, again, two coils, you know, interrupted the switch. When you switch, the wheel turns, you see? It works.
Now in this case, Jan, there's only one wire goes to that motor.
One wire here to the coil, here is nothing, to the battery, from battery to the motor, and again, it's like a bulb. He just built, you know, different examples.
Yeah, so there is a wire goes into the motor, but there's no return to the battery.
That's right, yeah, you can
just one wire into the electric motor.
That's right, yeah, in that particular case, you know, so here you have every time the board which shows the light and board which shows the motor, yeah?
Right.
So everybody can see sort of clearly that the power to run little contraption model like that has to be sufficient.
Yeah.
You cannot have millivolts, you know, you have to have a certain strength of a good battery. And again, he is using very low voltage.
In this case, the people that we see here, some of these people are electronic specialists, and scientists,
PhDs in electronics. They are the people from University de Montreal and from institutes and the professional engineers. License. It's a professional body. That is sponsored by professional body.
The switch, by the way, is just hanging there.
Yeah, just hanging. There's not even, it's just one wire to the switch actually going, and it switches, you know, anyway, you know.
Yeah. Okay. These are the the first demonstration of the very simple boards put together, glued. Is that just glued down on acrylic plastic?
Yeah, it's glued on acrylic plastic with glue.
Yeah, it's glued.
That's it, yeah.
Right.
And the reason why it is on acrylic plastic, because somebody asked, whether there's any effect, is so people can see it from both sides.
Yeah.
Because
right.
if you mount it on a piece of wood, people will complain that something might be hidden in the wood.
Yeah.
So the whole idea was for him to put it, and then they asked him whether why it is this size. He said, oh, it can be a little bigger, but then it's problem to drag it around, so there is no real any reasons why he has this type of motor or this type of bulb or this size. As far as Daniel saw it, it was just that he can carry all the things, his toys, and it's just sufficient enough for him.
Yeah, right.
Here is a very interesting circuit. Again, you can see clearly that there is no connection here. He has two bulbs on a board, and he controls them with one switch. Again, when you switch it forward, the one goes, if you switch it backward, the other goes. But again, there is a fully open circuit for both bulbs.
Yeah.
So he has four coils actually, sort of.
We'll try
for
that.
each bulb, you see. You have two bulbs ahead, and each bulb has a wire from the coil, and that coil is open to the battery, and it goes all via one switch, which is two-position switch.
Gives a single switch gives the ability to function. One switch here switches this bulb on, and that way it switches the other bulb on.
See that is open circuit from each side, yeah?
Yeah, right.
And the bulbs are connected through the central wire. You can see they go like that.
Yeah, they make a kind of a V.
V, and they are soldered together.
See, they come around
from the coil. So it's like a sort of
a U there.
X.
Yeah, like an X. Yeah, right.
See? So it should not work at all, because wires are soldered together. So if you switch it, they should both
go on. Right.
Go on or go off. But
right.
That is not the case. The cameraman who did it should deserve to be shot. He was done by a professor. You can explain, speaks for itself.
We'll have to excuse him.
Look, that's easy to see.
Yeah, one switch.
One switch is all interconnected, like
yeah,
that.
Right. With a center connection to both bulbs at the same time.
Yeah.
If the switch goes to the right, one bulb goes on, switch to the other way, and the other bulb comes on.
Right, yeah.
But there's only one wire which is soldered together to both bulbs.
Yeah.
And consequently, the battery isn't connected to anything.
Yeah. It's connected to a switch by one wire, but it doesn't have any connection the other way. And again, it's sort of...
Here's a gentleman trying to figure out the motor. His PhD is getting smaller by the moment.
Yeah.
You can see that a lot of these people are very, very intense about exams. They shake their head, and you'll notice later on, folks, that what is happening here, you'll see some of the most peculiar looks in some of these people's faces that you ever saw in your life. And by the way, we'll see some peculiar looks in...
who speaks here is a personal friend of Daniel for many years, and he is himself professional engineer, and he accompanied Daniel on all these different demonstrations to help him answer some of the technical questions people might raise, since he is the professional engineer, and Daniel just builds the thing.
You met his friend then?
Oh, sure, I met everybody there.
Yeah. Well, what does his friend have to say? By the way, there's Chris Bird. There's Jan, of course.
That's me,
the guy. Yeah, that's Jan there, and that's Christopher.
I'm
this gentleman.
I'm writing circuitry, drawing everything, looking on, hoping that I can crack the problem. Obviously, it's like everybody else. We all hoped when we started that we can find the answer. But
well, this is Danielle's friend again.
Yes, and he is baffled. He told me the most incredible things about Daniel as an individual, about his incredible vision, which is sort of microscopic, and he can see things which normal eye cannot ever see. The accuracy of his hand, that he can pass the eye through the eye of a needle, the other needle, you know, on one go.
By just standing out at arm's length and zip them one into another.
That's right, and pass through, you know, small needles and things like that, you know. And it's just about this incredible sort of patience he has in putting things together.
Yeah, of course, as an example, that would be the boat that you have, which we taped earlier, the 8,000 hours, odd hours of the most meticulous construction of a boat that he never saw.
Yeah.
We're looking here at a model of a sailing ship, a three-mast. Looking at the schooner here, can you tell me who's built this? Who's put the tremendous amount of work in this?
Yeah, the boat was built by a young man from Quebec in Canada who spent 8,132 hours putting it together. He started in October 1978 and he finished in November 1983. The boat is made by hand. Every piece there is produced from either Q-tips or bits and pieces of wood, matches, lines, fishing tackle, all kind of leftovers and junk. The beauty of this boat is first that it's a very elaborate type of model. I don't think there is anything like that in the whole world actually, as far as detail execution goes. And what is the most fascinating, the model as it is was identified as a Marie Celeste, the ghost ship. The builder actually never saw the design himself, and that was all done without any pictures or drawings. It was done all from his head, entire ship. It was his first model he ever built, and I guess he has no intention to build anymore. I got that boat from the builder.
It has 17 guns on the side, right?
Yes, 17 guns on each side.
Right. And of course it's got some tiny aft guns on it.
This boat had no picture or any model before it was built, but it was identified as a boat of a year 1760. This boat was done solely by hand, no machining was involved. The sculpture work was done with a screwdriver, a hammer, a wrench, and a saw. To make a side of the boat, all the tools were taken from garage, and the wood was pine, maple, and cedar. The rest are the needles, decorated metal, toothpicks, Q-tips, fishing line, thread of bronze, and wire sheets. That's basically it.
Okay.
Daniel is obviously enjoying himself, trying to explain to people how he's doing. You can see throwing hands, he doesn't know. People ask him all kind of technical questions like giving method, you know, going back, referring to things, you know, trying to point out, as you can see, flip, the things fell out, you know, the switch.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a very, very simple, look at this coil, how far they are apart.
Yeah, right.
And all just
right.
works like it was no tomorrow, you know. And obviously that grabs people's interests because it's visible. the situation has become warmer, people become more friendly, you can see they smile more because Daniel really is very helpful and lets everybody do anything, sort of. And Gaston again sort of he dropped the switch from it. See again, there's some high
Danielle is
who felt that they might find it. Daniel is now, as I understand, sent out actually.
They send Danielle away from the room.
Away from the room to some second floor or somewhere, just to be able to see. It's not sent out yet, but he will be. He's just giving the last instructions, from what I understand. You see that? You can see clearly here the coils. You know,
the two coils.
Nothing
and a
there.
A switch.
Switch there. From the wire here, yeah. Right. From a bulb here, you know, but a coil and coil there is nothing, yeah.
Right.
So it's just one wire to the switch, from here to the battery, from here to the coil, nothing here.
Yeah, right. Correct. Very simple circuit.
Yes, very simple, and there is very little you can really sort of do. You can look on wires, you can look on everything. It's a standard soldering.
What does he make those coils out of, the little teeny coil?
Just the ordinary sort of rubbish wire which he wires. There is no real sort of...
Make it out of the core, the paper. There's no core inside him, the air core?
No air core, nothing. Just piece of little paper, hollow paper. I probably feel what it takes is a pencil, wrap paper around, you know, wrap some wire. It's crisscrossed, then it turn it around, you know, so the both ends are screwed together.
Yeah, here now Daniel is bringing out the one that really shakes up the people.
Now this is the first of the more complex units which we have not expected, but you can see again all the wires are coming from one center, connected. Again, one end goes to battery, other coil, then there is nothing, and other return goes via 4 switches which are connected in series.
Yeah.
You know, and this unit is really a mind-boggler because Daniel can switch any of these motors in any order, each individual switch, you know, or all at the same time, and all that stuff. Which
from a practically a dead battery.
Yeah, but still there is no connection to start with, and if this connection is totally useless because it's all shortened and it's open circuit on the top of it, you know, so I mean, you can have as much battery power as you want. If you have that connection, it won't work anyway. So what difference it really makes.
Right.
You have to remember, there is no return on a motors. You know, there is on one end only connected. There is no interconnection between motors. It's all connected from one center point.
Yeah.
You know, via open circuit from one end.
Right.
And via 4 switches in a line.
Yeah.
So it's sort of what the hell that should do. I mean, anybody who understands electronics will laugh his head off if somebody present him with this type of design.
Yeah.
Because all what you can use it is as a paperweight, really. If you look on it, you know. It's a knowledge we have.
Now these things do work out of Danielle's presence.
Well, it works all the time, whether Daniel there know or is there, or whether he's doing it or somebody else. Actually, one of these boards was sent to Germany for tests, and it was the same. There was no difference, you know.
It worked in Germany, away from Danielle.
Well, it works away from Daniel here too. Daniel will be out, and we all play with the units.
Yeah, to people who really want to protect patents, they need to learn Danielle's thing, because nobody can duplicate his apparatuses that they have tried.
I mean, he is the professional people. You have to remember, if you become professional engineer, you have to go to universities and all that stuff. And there are people with experience. They are not the youngsters. They are all people in their primes, you know, who hold high positions probably in their works and all.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, Daniel is handicapped by the law of these people, you know. It's just...
So they've said he's handicapped.
Yeah.
These same people who...
Not only that, he's handicapped by the law of the country, no?
Yeah.
Because he's paid as a sort of he's on a pension, no? As a disability pension, no?
Yeah.
That genius there is obviously
trying to figure it out.
Again, this friend who is engineer try to answer some of the questions. Daniel never answered any questions. If Daniel is asked something, he refers it either to Gaston or to his friend.
Yeah, what's this gentleman's name?
I have forgot the name. I have it written somewhere, but it's not critical because he doesn't in any way figure out in it. He's there. Daniel is fully protected. That means that nobody knows his real name. Nobody knows his address.
Oh, this lad's name would not be Daniel.
Oh no, it might be different name.
It could be Jean Sharif or what?
He's called Daniel for the purpose of the public appearance.
Right.
And that's it. And for protection of him. And Daniel has a very fragile personality, and it took them many years before he was able to even talk to people. This is only in the last 3 years that he was able to actually go out and show his toys. And he does that only when he's with his friends, the doctor and the engineer, and they really make sure that there is absolutely no way Daniel in any way is pressed or in any way sort of harassed. And people who want any questions, they have to write it on a piece of paper, leave it with the doctor, and that will be answered later. But there's no way you can do more. As you can see, that man is rather amazed, you know.
Yeah, right. I think he practically looked like he was talking to himself.
That's right, yeah. And obviously there is never-ending surprises from Daniel. Just watch that board carefully. You can see that truly it's impossible to even, anybody who knows even basic rudiments will discover that this is impossible. You know, just look on the connections. You know, look on that whole Hilaria thing, you know. Again, the batteries, when you measure them, have very low power, but you get 4 motors and they all work. Look, 4 switches. They are all interconnected through the one wire, you know.
Yeah, right.
Through them, you know.
But each switch will run one particular motor.
Just one particular motor, so you switch 1, 2, 3, 4, motor 1, 2, 3, 4, and that was it. But they all go through the open circuit from one end via joint unit, joint connection for all of them, and it all works anyway. You know.
It gets worse, folks.
So you can see switching them now.
See, he's got a little propeller
as you can see
on each little motor. You can see.
See?
He just turns one of these switches and some motor goes.
Yeah, you can actually hear the noise if we had a sound of that tape on.
Yeah. Let's see.
You can hear it. You can see no connection, so that goes from here, via here, to the center of all this. One end goes to the battery. It's all mess, it's all interconnected, you know.
An explosion in the garbage heap.
Yeah. And the people are really amused because there is very little to really measure, because as you can see, especially explaining to them, you know, how it all works. It's really, there's nothing there, you know, to anybody with training knows it should not work.
Right.
But it works.
Right.
You can see showing 1, 2, next, switch the other one, you know, little propeller arms, you know.
And then the last switch moves that one there. But they're just all one wire to each motor.
See? Stopped.
Soldered there.
Yeah, yeah.
Incredible. This is guaranteed to give...
Look that man.
Yeah, this is guaranteed to give any engineer a nightmare.
Look.
You can see. Little coil, little wire. There's no type of, there's no type of electronics that any of us have ever saw.
Well, definitely that should never work. Not anybody who builds any circuitry will build anything that, because person who does know electronics will not try to build electronics because that's obvious, you know. And anybody who knows even the basics will never build it like that because that's all automatically doomed to failure by anybody's definition, you know.
Right.
So whoever built it like that must know it will work before he builds it, because nobody will build it like that knowingly, because we know the laws of currents and electricity.
Supposedly there are laws of electronics.
Well, anyway, as you can see, it is a very clear demonstration. There is no protectionism or any sort of black magic or hidden box. People are freely able to try themselves, speculate. Some of them took even their own devices there to measure, you know, and trying to crack the problem. But obviously, as you can see, switching it on, you can see this little propeller. It definitely made impression, no doubt about it. And again, Daniel is patiently answering, because so many people are asking at the same time so many questions, you know. In the meantime, the boards are all circulation, so most of the boards he shows are freely going around, and individual people just trying to crack it, you know.
Yeah. Trying to understand what the problem is.
Yes.
It certainly looks like we got a lot of interest there.
The committee, you know, 4 of them, you know, at least.
Right.
Putting brain power together. If you remember that there was 50 people present, and each of them, on average, will have about 20 years of schooling, or if not 20 years, 15 years at least, because you have high school now, then you have to have at least basic degree, 15, 16 years. You speak nearly about 1,000 years of education.
Yeah.
Against somebody who has maybe 2 years of education.
Yeah.
You can see that doesn't make any difference, you know.
I take the battery out now, of course, obviously it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, yes.
Right.
The funniest things of all of it, that somebody brought his own battery, put it in, and it wasn't either working.
Oh, you mean somebody else brought a battery of his own battery and put it in there, would not work?
That's right, yeah.
Oh. Oh. That's terrible. It's getting worse.
See, they tried sort of all kind, because these batteries are dead. If you measure them, you know, they don't have really, because using the same battery for, I guess, the last 10 years or so.
Oh, he has been using the same battery?
Well, I guess so, yeah. So it doesn't change them or anything. He just have them there, you know.
Yeah, it's necessary to have the battery.
Well, I guess in that case you'll see later on he doesn't have batteries at all, but in this particular beginning, to at least something tangible, at least power.
Yeah, so first because they believe in battery.
You can see the 2 bulbs, you know, again, each of them has a coil, it goes on, coil, and then open circuit from here, there's the other coil, interconnected, all in the center, you can see again, and it works, you know.
Right. Now,
Gaston is trying to explain his side of the story. He's obviously a troubled man, because after 10 years of intensive study of Daniel and visiting all kind of institutes and all, he's as far from answer as he was when he started. In the contrary, if he had any hope to understand it when he started, I think it's diminishing as time goes. You can see clearly here again the connections and how nonsensical it is all, you know, because it's a pure solder in the center. There is
right.
No.
Here's a gentleman again who's baffled.
He's probably built a whole hydro.
He probably built a hydroelectric plant. He's wondering what the hell was wrong. Right. Yes. Well, they passed the equipment all the way around.
Pass the plate. Anyway, it becomes rather funny, because as time goes, the anecdotal stories about people, Daniel and all things, you know, he did and all, just warms up, and Daniel is really enjoying himself, and it all becomes a very friendly evening. Gaston explaining again that he doesn't understand electronics and all, but he did everything for Daniel that people who knows can sort of help to understand it. But there seems to me very little. Daniel is not very helpful, because he truly doesn't know himself anything about it, except he builds it, you know.
Yeah, he's just the builder.
Any sort of specifications as to give them what kind of wires and everything goes through the window, because he picks up any junk, you know, coming his way, and that is the end of the accuracy. You can see later that people who were at least serious to start with really deteriorate rather fast. as they see demonstrations far more hair-raising, you know, than we see now. Even if what we see now is, I guess, sufficiently baffling to anybody, and
everybody is baffled now.
I mean, there is no need to go further than to explain the first circuit. You know?
Yeah.
Theoretically, nobody in the world can do that, as far as we know so far. You know.
Right.
What after? That's not really a point.
But there was a design that Daniel had for the group here, and the fact that first he had batteries in the circuit. Very shortly now, he's going to bring out...
I think that is how he evolved himself, because these are the toys he built over a period of 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And he might start it with batteries first, you know, and then sort of pay more attention.
Then he designs a circuit that runs all the things you see, but there are no battery, no source of power.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Let's follow just the flow now, because then we have to repeat. As you can see, there is a discussion going on between Gaston and these people, asking all kind of questions, you know, and Gaston is really answering in a way where you can see this is rather amusing, because he's used to all these questions. You can see how they seriously sort of... But the point is that whatever one thinks 1 minute, he
wrecks the next.
That happens so many times that all what you do is you sit back and take it easy and just see it and laugh, you know. That eventually will end, and you can see people will be clapping and all kind of... It's like a show. Because there is...
Another...
It's probably again one of these tough professors, you know, who explain everything, you know, space shuttle programs and everything, you know.
Right.
And you can see the amazement on their faces, you know. If Daniel produced a circuit in a school, he will be...
There's Chris and Jan, of course, next to him. And the gentleman to Jan's left there is Dr. Bernard Grad.
As you can see, there are really all kind of people, younger, older ones, but they are all highly trained people, very intelligent and very observant people. Christopher Grad is asking questions, trying to find some more informations, and we all are listening, you know, but the whole point is that while we are talking, you know, look that man, how intensely he's watching it, you know, he could eat it if he could, you know, and he thinks he has a microscopic vision, you know, and that there will be something he will be able to see, and obviously.
Right.
What is the most striking about all is that simplicity of a design and a clear presentation. You cannot really sort of let that go, you know.
Yeah.
Never mind. Again, his friend engineer is handling, as I said, the friend handles all the technical questions, Gaston handles all the personal and a sort of administrative considerations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I don't even remember what was said. I know that Daniel has all kind of interesting things, and one of them is he can sort of... You can see Daniel was sent out, and they was all working while he was out, and they call him now to get in back, because there was a certain feeling that see whether it works in his absence, and obviously that all was...
From the parapsychology aspect, then they assumed that if Daniel was away from his equipment, he might, being in the proximity of the equipment, could influence the...
well, I guess that was one of the things.
That was one of the things. So by sending him out, they have answered their own question, that he was not present in this, and the equipment still worked.
Yes,
okay,
it's obvious that Daniel's absence is not in any way relevant to operating of these instruments. And Actually, I had experience when we had a intermission. Everybody was chatting in the corridors. I was looking over these instruments on a table and nobody was there. And some of the instruments were not even shown, so I had no idea what they're supposed to do. And there was a switch on one I pushed and everything started to move and it scared me, so I immediately tried to switch it off, but it was a two-position switch. So I overshoot a neutral position and it all reversed, you know, and it started working opposite all these mobiles and all. And that was again one of the things which had visibly no power in it, and it was all again meso wires and everything else. It was like a dead piece of junk which suddenly came to life, and that was something I had no idea what it was. Nobody showed it before. Nobody was even in a room, and I just sort of put it on. So that thing works. If I'm sure that if Daniel sort of lost that thing and somebody found it, they think it came from Mars because it will work in their hands and nobody will be able to sort of find out the answer.
Gaston is explaining something here now.
Well, Gaston is explaining sort of all the different tests they did on Daniel to isolate, if possible, the nature of the thing. They stripped him naked, you know, and they built one of the circuits in one of the labs in Quebec with their professional engineer next to Daniel doing exactly the same, building the simplest circuit. They all get measured amount of wires and everything the same, there was no difference. But obviously when Daniel finished it was working, and the other man who finished just nothing.
Yeah, Daniel's worked and the other gentleman didn't. And Daniel did that in his socks.
Yeah, I was doing next to each other. They worked in the same table in front of all these people, you know. There was no real mystery into it, you know. Again, this is one of the first so-called real mysteries, in a sense, that it doesn't have even power. This so-called power supply is a completely incomprehensible mess of wires. They are all crossed to each other and sort of short in every which way, interspaced with pieces of stone around which the wires are wrapped, human hair. There are actually raviolis used to wrap the wire around, some spaghetti and macaroni. Macaronis are using to fill the inner paper tubes, you know, around which the coil is wrapped up. Bottle cups, you can see this is from a bottle cup, you know.
Yeah.
The top, you know, with wire wrapped around, you know.
Right. And so the core, which is usually inside of a coil, use iron laminations.
Yeah,
he puts macaroni in there.
That's right, yeah.
And instead of having a coil form, he uses a ravioli and puts the wire around the ravioli.
That's right, yeah. Or, as I said, he uses human hair, you know, occasionally instead of wire, you know.
He does.
Yeah.
He substitutes human hair for...
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real mess, you know. If you study it every which way, I mean, you cannot trace these wires, you know. It's like a sort of a maze, you know, really. A bad point is when he switched that thing on, you know,
yeah, when he switches it on, it works.
Yeah.
Just think what he could have done for the atomic energy.
Anyway, again, he explained it first, he showed it, and now he let people do it themselves, you know, show them sort of. And again, that will be intensive investigation, and people will...
Everybody is getting to be more jovial, you see. Now they're quite obviously, there's nobody knows what's going on at this meeting.
Now they will ask questions like how much of this raviolis he needs, or how much macaroni, you know, to that coil, they ask, you know, and how he knows, you know, that it will work, you know, this type of things. And Daniel just knows that if he builds it, it will work, you know, that's all, but that's why...
Now, there, Jan, you got the thing in your hand there now.
Yeah, well,
you are observing whether or not it's edible, is that it?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, you can see that's the Grad and everybody, you know, Gaston, over, people coming. It is one of these mysteries of life, really. Daniel explaining. Here is the other unit, again, using his power source, which truly has no whatsoever any sense. And more you're looking on it, more you are amazed, because you notice things which you overlook on the first, you know. I mean, totally impossible. Look at that coil. It's just a wire wrapped up, all junk, you know. There is no real, any law you can ever imagine in existence, you know, is broken, you know, there. Actually, if you take two wires from a scrapyard, you know, and connect them into a bulb, it should work.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly what sort of he has there.
Right.
There's now even the connection again. Not only that he doesn't have that power source, but again, it's a standard thing, you know. The circuit is open every time, you know.
Right.
You know, again, it's not that the one with battery had open circuit and the one is closed. No, every time a part of the power source replaces the battery, but the wiring is messy afterwards, the same way as it used to be on the previous board. So as I said, it just adds into the whole complexity.
But does he solder a wire occasionally?
Or it's all soldered, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes he sticks wires into glue bottles.
Yeah, but again, if there is a metal and needs to be soldered, there are proper solder connections, you know, like these two coils again, you know, for the power source, whatever it is, you know, proper. Again, there is a gap, you know, but again, the power source, you know. But the whole thing is really, there is simply no logic. You can see it through the hands, you know, and people say, what kind of energy? And Daniel shows to the heaven, you know, like saying, maybe from there, you know, it doesn't know. He will sort of...
he doesn't know.
No, he sort of builds it. He knows that when he builds it, it will work. Because if he knows it will work, it will work. If he feels that it will not work, it will not work. You know, you can see there's a bulb on the side, again, open circuit, you know, the coil here, coil there, and that so-called power source.
Yeah.
It's all the, you can see it's all coils, you know. You can see ravioli here, you know.
Yeah, there's the ravioli.
The ravioli is in the front, you know. Just
right.
rub the wire on. You can see there are still a few who
trying to figure out
out of it, you know. But even they eventually give up as the things gets worse. You can see there is great degree of...
Well, ravioli and spaghetti do have a significant place in his apparatuses.
Oh, I guess that's something he picked up from his kitchen, but they're also good. They're quite hard, you know. You can see the sort of raviolis here.
Yeah.
You can see the...
well, like the round half-arcing things.
Yeah.
The half-a-circle raviolis, like, the spaghetti, macaronis.
Macaronis, yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
And he winds his coils on macaronis.
That's right, yeah.
But other people have tried to duplicate wrapping wires on that and his macaronis
yeah,
and
but
things.
nobody tried to duplicate his power source because you cannot even trace it. It's such a mess that there is no way. Each power source looks different, you know, there is no consistency.
No consistency from power source to power...
No, you cannot say. As I said, this is totally unique piece. It's like a work of art. Each of them is different.
Each one is a work of art.
For that, and that's it. There is no way you can say, oh, here's ravioli in that one, because next one will have probably just one, you know, and all kind of other things in it. And as I said, there is all what you can do is really acknowledge that you've seen it, and that's it.
There's somebody intently concentrating on what kind of a thing is it?
You can see again that one is finished with his study, you know, and he feels that. I can see again the simplicity of a design, you know, there is very little to really...
This wasn't so bad in the beginning because it had a battery, even if it was dead. But the thing, when he brought out the spaghetti and the macaroni, that was it, and that worked.
Look, it just kind of works.
Yeah, you can see.
It's broken. See, number 3 is on, and that number 4 he switches. See that gap, there's nothing there, you know. So it's one end of battery, and here, you know, there is no connection from the other side, you know, there is only a coil. It goes to the switches, you know, and just
right. Right.
Via the most incredible sort of mess of wires. But anyway, it all works, as you can see there. And the evening goes on. See, Daniel removes the switch or whatever it was there. Yes, and you can see it's just one wire to that switch went.
Yeah, right.
And that was it, you know. And that switches two different units.
Yeah.
That's one wire connected on it. It should not work at all because it's missing.
Yeah.
It needs at least 3 wires in order to work 2 positions.
Yeah.
You can see that there is a certain degree of I'm sure that these people had a very unusual night, most of them, when they went to sleep.
Right.
You know, dreaming about spaghettis, you know. Italians might probably understood.
Yeah, right.
See, the table is covered with this device. You can see virtually, it's just not one or two. He showed us only a small portion. He brought them in boxes. You can see it's all just a big table, and it's one after the other.
Yeah, right.
It's fun.
They really are, Jan, what you said, a work of art. Each one of them is a work of art. Art's supposed to...
See, I'm very carefully observing everything, hoping that
you could...
I will be licked, you know, by the light of understanding, but so far...
Now this is one of his power sources.
Look, again, you know, the power which supplies the engine is completely disconnected between these two coils, because you get coils from one side, then you have a gap, and then wire. I hope, you know, one day I will get a better video, because that's a disaster. See, man who takes pictures really is behind Daniel, and is facing the audience most of the time, so we really see. You can see anyway.
Yeah, you can see there's no connection between his power source to the motor anyway.
That's right, yeah, it's completely, that's what sort of makes it interesting. And not only that, he doesn't have a battery. This is his so-called
spaghetti power.
Spaghetti junction. You can see the coil here, coil here. There is no... Actually, as Daniel said, the advantage of this thing is you can keep the battery at home in warm.
Yeah,
and drive the car outside.
Yeah, that's what he said, huh?
Yeah. See, that one is laughing now, scratching his head, and he was really one of the most attention-paying, you know, investigators on a beginning. It really gets rather hilarious, you know, because to really prove even something worse, there's that one switch, again with one wire, and you have 2 people, scientists from audience, and they are asked to put that switch to the front position. There is no battery, nothing. When he switched that switch, here it goes across the board. You can see it has to have a power, you know, you have to run that
single pole double throw switch.
No battery, you know, no connection between them. And if they are, see, here is the coil.
Yeah.
And here is a coil. There is no connection. The same is true from the other side.
Yeah.
And just one wire on a switch, and no battery in it. And here it.
And there it goes. Now they switch the switch the other way, and it goes the other way.
Again, Daniel, you can see it's completely free, clearly, you can see.
Right.
It is mind-boggler, and you can see people getting...
yeah, more fellows getting very excited here.
Rather amused.
And you can visualize his battery sitting home in his bedroom or his spaghetti box, and the motor in his car driving around.
You can see there is no connections between that part. You can see it's how now clearly. Zilch, you know, there are no wires going.
Yeah. Right. Nothing there. But even the, whoa, what a man, what a spaghetti pile that mo.
You see, nothing is open here, you know?
Yeah.
It's just from a switch straight into that center, which goes to both,
Yeah.
the both end, which should not work anyway.
Yeah.
And again, this is open circuit from the other side. It's total nonsense, you know. Any which way you look on it, if you...
That's Bernard Grad.
Stressing his point, trying to explain, asking certain questions, you know, concerning Daniel's sort of
technology
and connections, you know. How is it? Okay? Anyway, it will be interesting to see somebody else duplicating this, you know. Again, a friend explains that Daniel can make things work any way he likes. So if he says that it will work for 3 hours, then the things will work 3 hours, and then after it goes dead.
Really? He can? He can predetermine how long
he can predetermine how long it will work, yeah? Or he will be able to, as he said, look on things which already work and he have not built, you know, and affect them. Like I said, there was a garage door, yeah? And Daniel said it won't work, and they couldn't open that garage door, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Shut it right off?
Yeah. So when he says it works, then it works, and if he says it will not work, then it seems to me it doesn't work. Even the normal circuitry, you know, which is sort of...
Maybe it's a reincarnation of Nikola Tesla.
Well, I know Tesla never did anything like that, so it will be new to him. Anyway, some of the things, you know, look on the car, maybe they show a better shot of it, but again, it's all self-evident, you know, and more you look on it, more impossible it really becomes. Because it's a heavy thing. If you weigh it all together, you know, all this junk and all, and it all moves, you know, you need some power. It's not like a little breeze, you know, you need, and that has no self-evident power supply, so whatever it produces, it must be, again, you can see these two coils, open circuit.
Yeah.
It's nothing, you know. Anyway, Daniel take the other thing. Now it's the same 4 switches, but now it has no battery there. Now he's
got a new unit with the 4 little motors on it.
Exactly the same, except
this has got a spaghetti generator in it.
Generator. Again, showing that it still works, you know. So you can see he's leading it in steps, you know, the same connections, everything, you know, except instead of battery, he has all this so-called
spaghetti power.
Spaghetti power. Again, you know, it's pity we don't have a clear shot of that, I think, you know, but that's sufficient enough to baffle you for the rest of your life. Again, all the attempts, you know, to explain it by fields and transmission and resonances failed. This all was tested and tried, and it works in any medium. As again, if you measure the voltages, it gets right voltages. Everything is as it should be. You see it's running.
Yeah, all the little motors are running. Then it's coming out of the spaghetti.
Yeah.
And the ravioli. And macaroni.
Again, it passes it around, you know. People are don't even bothering to go for it now very much. They know that. Yeah, you can see that initial sort of reservations, you know, turning to laugh, you know, people really start to crack, because the only people who like to discuss are housewives, I guess, you know, and the women, you know,
yeah,
who might have some, because they are closer to raviolis, I guess. There might be something in it, we don't know.
Yeah, right. Right.
Actually, if you can make it work, you can at least eat it, you know.
Right.
Try to the pot. Make yourself a good. And that man looks mean, you know. So
you don't want to look at now. He's had it. That's enough of that. There's no doubt an electrical engineer.
That's probably quitting his job to become a traveling salesman. Selling Daniel boards. See, there is obviously...
No, this is our gentleman friend there trying to...
You can see that beard is getting progressively grey.
Yeah, right. Right.
It's proceed. See, throw hands, you know. It definitely is a devastating experience for people who know. See, showing there's no connection, and it still works. It really is a shocking experience to see that. There's a great degree of curiosity, obviously.
Daniel is explaining something here again.
Yeah, he's being asked all kind of things, you know, specifics, you know, mostly, you know, why this and that, and he's just sort of, he's having fun, you know, he's sort of telling them, see, I don't know, when he throws his hands like that, he usually says, who knows, you know, he doesn't know himself. People ask him questions as he was a god, you know, and he doesn't, he's the dumbbell, you know, he truly doesn't know one thing. You know,
Yeah.
You ask him anything, now I know. I'm just uneducated, handicapped person, he will say. Ask the engineer and point to his friend or somebody else.
Yeah.
They just sort of... He has no corrections. When he builds it, it works. There is no sort of, like, it doesn't work and then he goes and fiddle and it works. When he finishes and switches it, that's it, you know.
It works first time, every time, huh?
That's right, yeah. He's using soldering iron. That's the only instrument he has. He has no voltmeters, ohmmeters, oscilloscopes. Absolutely nothing.
Right. Now he's coming out here with another motor, another little car.
You watch that carefully, you'll see that there is absolutely no connection. See, the coil, see, this is just zilch, you know, absolutely nothing. You see?
The spaghetti power again.
Spaghetti power, but this one is totally... if you saw it in half and put one end on one end of the table and on the other, it should work. Look, I mean, there is absolutely nothing between that part and there is just...
Zilch.
Clear. There is no whatsoever. It's like 2 parts of a horse, you know.
Yeah.
The tail vigor, you know, when you pull the tongue, but there's nothing between. It's like that mysterious woman you hug in a saw and you move it.
Right. In this,
and she
the woman in the box. You saw
the
on
woman
that.
in the box. It's exactly the same thing, you know. Except you can see it's just absolutely nothing. And it works as well as everything else, you know. And again, there is no power, obviously, and whatever is connected, it's better if it wasn't, because it horrifies you how badly it is. Look on that, you can see it. This is absolutely, by every time somebody steps into that dumb thing, you know. You see people having fun because Gaston telling them some of the stories, you know. Daniel had, you know, his different people when they demonstrated it to engineers and all. And he was actually telling the one about engine at home and car on the street, you know. People were laughing. Again, just clear.
Did he ever build any bigger power units than this?
According to Gaston, he could, but he doesn't build it for people. It's his toys, and that's his size, you know.
Yeah, that's his toys.
That's it. People want to see them, that's all. He's not sort of doing it for himself. He's just, look.
Yeah.
You know, Gaston, I should shoot him. Grad is rather amused.
Yeah, Grad is now in a state of a fright. Right. Right.
You can see it now for a second, was clearly sort of. Yeah, I truly couldn't hire that man who made that movie, even to clean the lenses, you know. Again, the same story, you know, here it goes, you know.
Put the switch the other way?
No connection between the one half and the other. Switch is on the other side than the wheels, you know.
Yeah.
It's nothing between whatsoever. There is no battery. You can see clearly, you know, the mess on the front, you know.
That's an incredible thing. Incredible. Now, people have watched him make his things, and they work.
Yeah, that simple circuit was that. See, he's inviting people to play with it, you know. See? You can see there is a certain degree of, I can see clearly the mess, you know, the wires, you know. That's a power supply.
Yeah.
This is a bottle cap, you know, from the old bottle.
Yeah.
Cemented in, you can see the... that coils inside of a ravioli, a macaroni, you know. Now he's interesting, showing very interesting thing. He actually uses a main supply which he plugs into a board as a first basic circuit, you know, we've seen with the bulb, open circuit. In this case, what he does is the voltage from a wall. Again, there is no transformer, no any visible connection.
He brings a 110 volts from the line.
Then now he uses ordinary DC 12 or 3 volt bulb. Actually, it's a 3 volt bulb, you know.
A DC 3 volt bulb.
And he screwed it in, and it works. Yeah, you can see that. And then he take that bulb out and he put an ordinary 110 volt, and it works too.
And it works too.
Yes.
And there's no transformer.
No, it's not transformed. The same thing, the same.
But
switch.
nothing's hooked up anyway.
Yeah, the open circuit anyway. So this is what sort of makes it rather interesting, because you can imagine we put 110 volts through that horrible connections he has there. I think you can see the bulb. Yeah, it's a normal sort of DC 3 volt bulb. Yeah. Or it might be a 12 volt bulb, which is used
probably a 12 volt
emergency sort of lights,
yeah,
you know.
Right. Now here is his super duper.
Super duper.
Whatever.
Whatever. I don't know. It's a Daniel one, you know, Mark one.
This is a Daniel special.
You can see how far are the things apart, you know.
Yeah.
You can see clearly there is no battery source because you're using the manpower. Gaston again explains, it's self-evident, you know, the socket on the top, you know, the two coils, you know, switch wire going there, yeah?
Right.
You can see that, yeah? The poorly wire, you can see it's all crisscross. Because what's happened is when you get this one end of the coil and other wire, he twists them together, just like that. They are not going to battery, just take the one and another and do them together.
That's all he does.
Yeah, he shorten them, yeah. So just get a... That's it, yeah. You can see clearly, you know.
All right. Yeah. There's a wire coming around like this to the bulb.
Yeah.
You know, one goes over there, and a switch, and a coil,
nothing.
and a coil goes over to the bulb.
Yeah. Now he put that 12 volt.
They put a 12 volt bulb in.
DC bulb, you know.
DC
12 volt DC bulb. As you can clearly see, that theoretically should never happen.
No, it should never work.
It should never work, and should it work, it should blow immediately into his face.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah. Because you have to remember, you put 110 volts, you have induction, you have all kind of things, you know, coming through that thing. I mean, that should...
What's that little thing in the center there?
There's a little wire, you know, like an antenna, you know, you just wire it there, sort of.
Might be important, Jan. See?
Yeah, they tried that, you know, and again, it makes no...
Now that's the 12 volt.
You can see clearly the connection. It's
he's got something there.
Yeah, it's just a little tiny, ordinary thin wire, you know, which is connected, and it's isolated. You know, it's in a cable. It's just you snap a piece of wire, you know, from the single line, and you just sort of glue it in across.
Oh, it's not even connected onto them?
No. It's just sort of over it. There's no connection.
Just kind of glued on there.
Yeah, just glue it, you know, next to it.
It's getting worse, John.
And you can see clearly how this is, and now he switches it on, yeah?
Yeah, he switches it on.
Remember that bulb, you know? Look.
Look there. That's the 12. That's the 12 volt.
12 volt DC, you know, running on 110 AC, you know.
But it's not connected. Can't run anyway.
In an open circuit. Yeah.
But there is. Now we know that there's juice there.
Sure.
Now visible light. There. Now
that should give everybody creeps, yeah? Switch it up. Yeah. Switch it on, yeah. Actually, what happened? Somebody pulled the plug. They tested it, and they are laughing. You see. They put the plug on him and it went off, and they put it back. Now he switches it off, yeah?
Right.
Removes, and you see they take the ordinary...
And they take the 12 volt bulb out.
12 volt bulb out. See that man, obviously with a beard, is again on a go, you know.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out probably that electrical engineer.
Put a 10 now, and here it goes again, you can see. You see? It goes again.
Now he's turned on the 110 volt bulb.
Yes. So now that's, again, it's a mystery, you know, because how you can...
There. Right, and now he's got a lot of interest. There are a lot of people of interest now because the circuit is so simple that he's got there, and it cannot work. That circuit cannot work.
That's right. Not only that, it should not work. The current should burn if it worked in one case, you know, and not work in the other or whatever. I mean, it's just impossible, no?
Look at there. Look at that damn thing.
Yeah, so, you know, disconnected, and here it is.
Yeah.
So that's obviously is something lots of PhDs will be made on, you know.
Yeah, that is, see, that's so simple. That's observable with a few old coils.
Yeah.
That
that
was spaghetti coils, wasn't it?
That's right, no core inside, you know, just a paper wire with wire, you know, that's it, you know. Glued to the bottom.
Now here comes his radio. We might have to turn on a little sound for the people here.
Yeah, Daniel built his radio, which again has no transistors, no resistors, no any sort of standard thing you will consider having in the radio, you know, diodes or anything. Just the wires, you know. You can see there are just the wires. You know, again, the mess, you know.
He's got a spaghetti generator in it.
A mess. But the two normal speakers and a normal tuning knob, you know. You see?
Yeah.
No transistors, no diodes, no nothing. And...
but no power either.
No, in that one he has a power. He has two again, with batteries and without, you know.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, every time he shows.
Oh, this has got two old flashlight batteries in, I see up there.
Yes, you can see, but again, body camera, the mess, you know, John.
Jesus, look at that.
Yeah, there is no even connection between that.
Yeah, there's no connection to the speakers over there now.
It's just the one wire, you know, that's all.
Just one wire to the speaker, that is. but he gets AM, FM, and what else is it? Short wave. All the same stuff.
You can see the dialing.
Yeah. That's his radio.
So what he do is he take the front of the radio, you know, the knobs and everything else, so it looks pretty. Then he throws in whatever comes his way, you know, into the box, and it all plays.
Yeah. He's got a lot of interest this time.
Yeah, obviously. Again, if you have some sort of a genius who is into the hi-fis, he will get a shock of his life, because that should never happen. I mean, we spent... radio is a new invention, relatively.
Yeah.
You know?
This does have 2 batteries in it for whatever reason.
Again, the batteries are most of the time dead, and it should not work anyway if you take a reading of them. As you can see, there is
but he's got a real super radio there. I mean, it's AM, FM, stereo,
yeah,
and shortwave.
But again, you can see that this type of shortwave. There's a switch on the side, a switch on a FM, AM, or whatever. Now watch. When he told the battery stop playing.
It was playing even when the battery was out.
As you can see, we are all amazed, you know, and rather amused, because well, that's a really interesting one what he's pulling now. And now that I have to explain, he has built a control box. You can see that clearly. What kind of connection? Just one wire from this bottle, which is a strawberry jam bottle.
Full of strawberry jam, made by a woman now, I understand, correct?
Yes, she is explaining it's a strawberry jam. You can see there is nothing, you know, connecting, going, just one wire going somewhere to that mess. That's a remote controller for that mobile there, which is a little helicopter which runs around. Again, the power supply he built himself from the standard, you know, junk. And that power supply is connected to a main.
The power supply, but
the controller again is not connected with the main box, and the power supply is controlled really by that box.
Yeah.
See, it's sort of you can see what's kind of.
This is a jam bottle there.
But
with a wire on top.
The mess, I mean, if you have this controllers, you have to, I mean...
now this electricity turning on there, a line goes to the central mobile now,
Yeah.
But that runs the arm around, but don't run the blade on the propeller.
It's just the arm around.
That just runs the arm around.
Might supply a power for the propeller, but that is all controlled from that box.
Yeah, which is not connected.
No, you can see it. But that box doesn't have any proper anything. It's just wires, you know, and just one wire going to a strawberry jam cup, you know. There is no real sort of sophistication about it. You can see the hollow, again, tube, you know. You can see the mess there, you know.
He's got a little battery there.
But you can see that battery again. It's just one wire coming from that battery to the rest of the junk, you know, and vanishing somewhere, you know, so you don't get again 2 wires.
Yeah.
Sort of, you know, it's every time there is an open circuit between battery
and the apparatus.
And the rest, you know. But then the apparatus itself, you know, it's just one wire, metal cap on a strawberry jam standard thing, and a screw which goes through, you know, to the strawberry jam.
Yeah.
Now that thing, again, was built by Daniel to control that helicopter.
Well, he has a function that can make
the
helicopter blade go fast and slow.
He can increase, decrease.
He can turn the
speed,
lights on in the helicopter.
Everything. It lots of functions. If you write them down, what it all can do, it's not like only switch on and off. I mean, that's true for a light. He has a helicopter, but he can start the helicopter by proper increasing power, so it just accelerates, you know, keep it constant speed, decelerate, you know, get really fast, stop, reverse the direction of a propeller and a mobile, so everything runs in opposite direction.
Right.
You know, so, and that's done by screwing that cup on that strawberry jam.
Is a rod goes down into the jam?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it touches the jam, yeah?
It's in the jam, it goes, the rod goes down into the jam.
Yes, yeah, it's in a strawberry jam.
Boy, I'll tell you what, science has really missed out when they didn't use spaghetti, ravioli, and jam and things like that. That's where we went wrong.
So you can see Daniel is explaining again, sort of people are amazed. He asked for a seat. Now he showed the little battery. He tests the battery, put it in, you know. He explains that when he unscrews that one, you know, he gets it from the jam, you know, and that disconnects the contacts, you know, and the controls. And when he screws it in, it will sort of switches it on, and more he screws it, more juice he's giving to that
to the
you can see people are rather amused.
Now he's screwing it.
Just showing first. He's trying somebody else to do it. He explains the functions, yeah, what it will do, and he switches his units on, yeah. And nothing happened there until he gives, so he sort of...
he switched something on there.
He tests the battery by smelling it, yeah. He said it's 9 volt, you know.
Oh, he smelled it like that and says it's 9 volts.
Yeah.
Right, that's a good way to do it.
And he starts screwing that strawberry cup. So he's explaining that, you know, when he's going in, you know, at certain level. He's a very good showman, amusing people, you know.
Puts me in mind of Uri Geller, tell you the truth.
Yeah, screwing more. More. See, and it goes, you see how happy he is, he's screaming, you know, and here it goes.
Yeah, he makes it goes up.
Makes it go down, and here it goes around, you know.
Now pretty soon he's going to turn on the lights, ain't he?
Yeah.
Now the cabin can be lit
Yeah.
with his remote control.
He switched the light on, you can see. You see?
Yeah, now the light's on in the little cabin. Right.
Now he's showing, you know, switch the lights off, you know, in the cabin.
He switched the lights off in the cabin. from his jam bow.
Yeah. And now he just lands the helicopter, yeah? He just lands the helicopter. Gently, nicely. I mean, he has to slow the speed of the mobile, everything, you know, and just stop it all, yeah? And now, put the power back, right vertically, and go opposite direction. You can see it. It's going now clockwise. It was going... Ah, reverse. You can see him amused, and you can see that you're fine tuning, you know.
He's fine tuning his jam bow.
Now we switch it off, you know. One hand screw, it stops. And he explaining sort of things, you know. Again, he starts it again. And he lets somebody else to do it.
This is
Gaston.
Gaston is going to run it. That's just a damn old carriage bolt.
Yeah.
Being screwed down into the jam bow.
Yeah, damn old carriage bolt. That's it. What it is. Yeah. That's all what it is.
And one wire.
Yeah. To the junk, you know. And he does everything what he said. So you can see he's sort of still not getting a response. Ah, and here he goes.
Right.
People are clapping and are happy. See, and here he goes. You pull the battery and it works, yeah?
Yeah. We pull the battery out and it still works.
And he switched the power there, it's going too.
And he switched the power off at the mobile.
That's right. And now when they pull it,
yeah.
So you can see that all this...
Yeah. Right. You pull and switch this off and on the mobile and it still works.
Yeah.
Well, you can see this is a very unique situation. Alright, we're back now, and this is and what are we going to see now?
What Daniel is doing now is he's putting together 3 different things. Actually, what they're doing now is making collection for Daniel to sort of...
for money to help him live.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So, anyway, the mobile was a very, very interesting situation.
What sort of they're doing is now they're preparing television, a radio, and one of his mobiles on that table. Again, television is a color telly, but it's broken. If you see it from inside, it's just smashed, you know, and obviously it's a junk he found somewhere, thrown out in a garbage can, according him. Then he has that radio he built himself, and a mobile, and he controls all these 3 units from the remote controller, which is based again on 2 frog eyes who...
Now that's frog eyes.
Yeah.
Now, what had happened? He got a frog.
He went morning and he found the frog.
Got a frog.
And he sort of took
the eyes out of the frog.
And he glued them on the top of that perplex board again.
On the acrylic plastic board.
And then he built his so-called circuitry, means he interconnected by wire these 2 frog eyes, you know. And in the middle of that wire he just then got it on a switch, which again is nothing else than a contact switch, contact plate, you know.
Just an on and off little switch.
Yes, it's not even it's just a press to, it's like a spring, you know.
Yeah,
so
look at here. His old thing is all broken apart.
Yeah.
It's smashed up.
And inside of it, it's a mess. If you look into it, it's all torn out of bodies and all. And it's just sort of not something you like to sort of...
It's just a garbage heap.
Yeah.
Telly, huh? Well, what's he do for an antenna? Or does he have it?
It doesn't have any antenna. That's how it is, yeah?
Okay. He's got his radio.
Yeah, this is his receiver, yeah, which he builds. And this is that frog eyes unit, you know.
It is.
Look, watch it carefully, the connection. These 2 dots are frog eyes, yeah?
There's the 2 frog eyes.
You can see them. How this is connected. Very simple, you know.
Yeah.
This bottle is a glue bottle, by the way, again, with a wire. It's like on a jam, but it's probably permanently tuned because it's glued and nothing is...
Is the wire down into the glue or what?
Just the glue, half filled with glue. Crazy glue.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
That's his radio now again.
What he is saying is basically that these frog eyes are sort of glued in and they can see the receiver. That's the unit which he interconnect with all these things. You can see he's plugging it there, he plugged the television on and plugged the mobile. That's that little things here on the edge of the corner. And the frog's eye must see that thing, you know. As long as the frog's eye sees it, you know, everything works. Yeah?
Okay.
And he can
if you put your hand in front of the frog's eye, it turns off?
Yes, that's what you can see later, you know. So what's basically happened is that again, that switch is very simple, and it's that little plate which when you press.
We'll see all this in a minute here. There's Chris coming up there. Jan, you're looking over the frog's eye.
Yeah.
Frog's eye just glued on and a wire just shoved next onto the frog's eye.
Yes. Yeah, it is very peculiar because...
Let's see what No, we're not ready for the demonstration here yet. But the frog eye has to see what happens only one frog eye looks.
Well, I don't know. Listen, you asked me too many questions on that. I know just that when the frog's eye sees the other part of the unit, everything works, and he expands. There's no connection again, you know, between. The switch is very simple. It's just two pieces.
Oh, no, two pieces of metal go push down, up and up.
Yeah, it's like a sort
a
of
switch, a single pole.
Yeah, whole I mean single pole switch.
Yeah.
If you take a forceps, yeah, you know, and you squeeze it together,
yeah,
tweezers, you know.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know. It's not even a switch. It's sort of thing he built himself. It's nothing really.
All right, now we.
Là, fais dessus, OK?
You can show it doesn't work. He gives attention, it doesn't work, and he explains the reason why. Because the frog's eye, I don't see that unit in the back, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, hide that unit, you know?
Yeah. So he doesn't see the unit in the back. Oh, okay, all right. So now.
He shows that unit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know? See, frog's eye must see that, you know? So if he hides it, it doesn't work.
Voyez-vous? Alors, il y a juste un fil, des bouteilles remplies de coke, Coca-Cola, qui étaient remplies des poubelles, là. Il n'y a pas de café dedans, puis il n'y a rien dedans. Ça prend ça, voyez-vous? OK? Bon, là, vous-même, vous direz, vous direz.
Got a little, that thing that frog's eye has got to see there is he puts on top of the television, huh? Or sits.
Oui. C'est ça? C'est intelligent qui a été trouvé dans une poubelle. C'est ça. Les étanches, c'est là.
Now it's...
Bon, attends, ça, la télévision.
You just press that metal.
Votre affaire, monsieur, est mal brancée. Enlevez-vous, monsieur, revenez. C'est mal brancé.
You see?
Ah oui.
You see, it wasn't working. Frog wasn't seeing it right, you know?
Yeah.
You know, let's sort of...
When the sound comes, when he gets it on, let's have some sound off the.
Anyway, there is a tension in the room, all connected, and you can see again there is no interconnection. And he switched it on and it works, yeah?
He switched it on.
That's a color television.
Yeah, it's colored television. All right.
And switches
And
it
he
on.
turns it off.
A radio.
La radio s'est allumée là-bas. Avec ça. L'avion maintenant.
L'avion, you know, the plane, you know, the propeller.
Voilà.
Yeah.
La caméra, faut que l'avion.
So it's in the back, they move it forward. You can see.
Get the radio there. The frog's eye got to see that, huh?
Yeah.
But that's not connected to anything. There's a wire sticking in the back.
It doesn't matter very much, no, in this type of design. As long as frog's eye sees that it works, and if they don't, that's what counts, you know. You can see it works, you know, it doesn't work. It's all junk television, probably will never work normally. Avion, you know.
Voilà, voyez-vous, l'avion, monsieur. Vous avez l'avion?
Radio. You see, people tell him, the people there who tell him which they want, you know, and he switches it.
Yeah, you see, when he pushes down, he wants the mobile pushes it, and the switch, and the mobile comes on.
Yeah.
And they say,
look how simple it is. He just
yeah, push it down, and if he says television,
yeah,
the television works.
Look how simple it is, you know.
Yeah. And so.
What's that switch? You know, it's nothing.
Just, and you did this, and you did it in English in your mind, and you done it in Czech,
and it works.
And it works.
Yeah.
But if you don't say it, if you don't think it, it don't work, right? Is that correct?
C'est une magnétie de votre doigt. Mais votre machine est ici, bonne fois, quelque chose. Alors, c'est pas du magnétique de notre doigt.
Well, the good thing about this is the frog's eye has got to see the controller.
You see, he put a piece of paper there in the box and it wasn't working.
Put that box in front of the frog's eye like that, and the frog won't put the cardboard in front of the frog's eye and it stops, right? Push that switch.
So, yeah, you can see that
Other people are...
They're trying their own, you know, switching whatever they like.
Right. So anyway,
you just press that little thing, you know. There is not even anytime you press it, you get what you ask for.
Yeah.
But you remember that there is no depressing. So when you have a position on, you press it next time, you get the other one on. You don't need to press, switch it off, and then press again. You know, you just press.
Yeah.
And the switch is what it wants.
Yeah. And you can run all three things at one time.
Yes, yes.
Or you can turn off one individually.
Yes. Or at the same time.
Yeah,
it doesn't
all
matter.
at the
That's
same.
how you say it. There is no, it's me there, you know. I'm pressing it. As you can see that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think in my own language. See, she asked me what you said because I have said nothing and it works, you see.
Yeah.
Just in my mind, you know, saying
Just thinking.
Just thinking it and it works, yeah.
Yeah. Right. So it just responds then to what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Now you established that much, Jan. That there's a think switch more than anything else, and the frog's eyes has got to see the controller over there. It's got to see the parts or it won't turn it on. Well, now we've established that, at least.
See, Chris there is definitely taken.
Chris is taken with that thing. Now, let's see.
I will be here. They need to move a car, so just stop it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, all we're playing there with a switch. Trying to enjoy ourselves.
Right, now we're going to see his stereo, right?
Look, clearly the frog eye is designed. You see? God, that should be shot. Because see, one frog eye here, you know, flashing, it goes to the switch, to that coil, to the battery, goes from there, via that wire, to the other frog eye, and this goes there. That's
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I mean, to do a remote control switch, which controls 3 different units in any order or simultaneously, and all that stuff requires much more, you know.
They're very complex.
There are boxes, you know.
Yeah.
Hundreds of dollars probably.
Yeah. That's very complex electronic circuitry to complete.
Now, what Daniel is explaining is that he built the unit which deals with hi-fi. Now, his friend engineer is laughing because he been around. And he's trying to explain basically what he does. What basically he can do is very simple. He will take a normal sound, record it on a tape, pre-recorded tape, put it through his unit, put it into a normal tape recorder, a mono tape recorder in this case, yeah?
Right,
which has a one jack, no, external jack, you know, output, which goes to the box he built. You know, that box has a switch, and sort of, I think it has a sort of variable, 360 degrees, like it's like a tuning,
Yeah.
Switch, and then it goes through, I guess, to a speaker from that unit. I don't know whether there's a power amplifier there to run the speakers, but I don't think so. I think it goes straight to the speakers. Actually, yeah, it goes via power amplifier to the big speakers, yeah?
Right.
So what's happened is you play that pre-recorded stereo tape on a mono unit. It goes into his box, which controls, I guess, output to the speakers. Now he can play that mono as a mono, either from one speaker or from both speakers. He can play that as a stereo, again, from both speakers. He can remove out of that tape any instrument you want to remove while the rest is playing, or he can position any instrument into any speaker you want. So let's say that you have a orchestra, woman singing, vocalist, and accompanying musicians. You might say, I just want to hear that vocalist but not music. Put it into left speaker, and bango, here it is, playing from the left speaker, woman singing. And then you say, okay, leave the woman and put the sound to the right speaker. So you get woman from one speaker, sound from the other speaker. You will say, I want to just hear, let's say, drums. Then bang, and all goes off except drums are playing their part. And then you say, I want to hear drums and a singer. And again you can hear, you can basically select any instrument with any instrument, any combination.
From one single mono tape.
From one single mono output of the mono recorder. Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's going to demonstrate that.
And he will demonstrate that. They are saying the confusion is causing to people because when he went into Radio Canada, in Radio Canada they gave him a pre-recorded tape of their French commercial on Coca-Cola. He put it through his units and he removed the French version of it. He just recorded the pure music and he superimposed on it English version. Right there, it saves them extra cost of orchestra and doing it. He can produce and add any sound effects to the tapes or anything sort of, if you're mixing them in addition to what already was there.
Yeah.
He can just do incredible things. Gaston said that one day he had a broken record which he cherished. It was, however, mono and was scratched, and Daniel took it and through his sort of skills he made that record just like new sound in stereo, and just he has a recording of it now. It was an old war record or something.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
Right, okay. So well, he simply puts one wire into one speaker on one side of the room and a wire across the room to the other speaker. And right in the middle of that wire, like a T-junction, one single wire, he runs that into the mono recorder.
Yeah.
And his switch will either select either speaker it wants to go to, or and then now, interesting enough, there's only one wire in each speaker.
That's right.
And one T-junction in the center.
Yeah.
And one wire into the recorder, and he can switch all these functions, take out this player, this thing, from his ridiculous box.
Ici, il explain drum speaker.
Supplémentaire qui peut être intéressant, c'est que Daniel prend un disque mono et vous le met en stéréo.
Yeah, he says what is interesting is he will take the mono and tune it into stereo. Yeah?
He can take mono recordings,
Yes, and tune it
make
into
it,
stereo.
take it in this, and make them stereo.
Yes.
Right.
By separating the instruments any way he likes,
Yeah, right. To whatever side of the whatever speaker he wants to go to.
And this is his so-called unit, he built it into the old turntable, because he has these buttons on it,
Right.
And
non pas niaiser, parce que je pense que
que Daniel pense que s'il met un peu en doute,
You see, if Daniel thinks he can do it, it will work, he will do it. Doesn't matter what it is. So he gets the idea and he thinks he can do it, then he just do it.
He does it.
Qu'est-ce que tu disais tout à l'heure quand quelqu'un...
As long as Daniel thinks he can do
que Daniel ramassait tout, là, il ramasse
what he sets out to make, then whatever the collaboration of spaghetti and ravioli may be, the device works.
They're putting the ordinary portable, you know, mono recorder. He puts in, it has a normal...
Et puis, il y a deux chanteurs qui sont dans la même place. OK, là, deux chanteurs seulement. Puis l'orchestre est juste le bord avec un autre chanteur. OK?
He's saying that he can make a singer to play with one instrument to sing and then change it so the singer plays with the other instrument. They took a recording of Beatles and he removed John Lennon after he died from a recording.
Really?
Yeah, so you can only see Beatles playing. His instrument and voice and everything is gone. He just never
Take his instrument and him right out.
Yes, completely out
of a recording. That
just like a tape, you know, of music.
Dans deux pistes, le premier piste, j'enlève la musique au complet. Enlever, pas mettre la basse ou... enlever la musique. Deuxième canal, t'enlèves les chanteurs, juste l'orchestre. OK?
He's explaining now what he will do.
On va essayer de dire comment ça fonctionne, là.
You check the function, yeah.
Il fonctionne pas, il est allumé, hein, ça. Il fait un beau son, hein? C'est JP.
This is like Tchaikovsky.
Yeah. Right.
Là, monsieur met la balance, bon là, après ça, vous pouvez rire, mais là, il faut vous dire un seul mot, là, parce que là, sinon, on ne pourra pas entendre. La cassette stéréo, mono veut dire...
See, the cassette is stereo, recorder is mono. You know, he puts it in. It's coming stereo now. And this is in it.
Now he's got two speakers out.
Yeah. You see, he switches the vocal and remove the music.
You're just hearing the vocal now.
And just on the sound and no vocal.
Now he's got just the...
and now just the vocal. He's switching them from a speaker to speaker.
Yes. Now he's got a mode. Now?
It's just music.
Yeah.
You see, it goes while you speak.
Yeah. Now he's going to remove the...
He's enjoying himself.
Yeah. Now he removed the band.
And he switched it. He's now from the other speaker. Before the voice was in that one. You see,
Yeah.
showed that he can switch it to any speaker. And now he plays just band.
Now just a minute. Now he put now he's got the band at the other side.
And them both together.
And now he put them back together.
Yeah.
That stupid box he's got there.
Yeah, my mono output. Yeah.
The mono output off a stereo tape. You know, a mono output.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
It's separated as a stereo, you're showing. You know,
Yeah.
the singer is there and the music is here.
Yes.
From the mono.
Yeah.
Not even a squeak of sound. Loud sound. And
Now bring the sound back. Yeah. Incredible. There's Chris in the background.
Bon, le fond, c'est... Madame? Mais c'est...
Now they're all applauding.
Yeah.
For sure, everyone
Anyway,
has had quite an evening.
you can see that if you look on it sensibly, there is no device, even in the most sophisticated mixing unit, when you can take pre-record the tape, put it through the mono player, and try to tune it into so-called stereo, and not only that, sort of separate individual instruments in such a way that you can completely...
Individual sounds out of each one.
And
that's correct. It cannot be done.
Yeah, it cannot be done.
But did anyone take a look into his stereo, or is it another spaghetti box?
Spaghetti junction, yes.
His spaghetti, an explosion in the spaghetti factory.
Yeah, okay, you can see the people are just sort of, they got too much, they overload, they just
Yeah. The interesting thing, though, about that John Lennon, take a Beatle record, and because John Lennon was dead, he took John Lennon and John Lennon's guitar off the recording.
That's right.
With his spaghetti junction box.
Yeah.
Right. That should interest the stereo.
The Nixon was arrived. That was probably something before the Watergate went.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, he couldn't remove Nixon. Right. That has to be the most incredible. This young man, what do you think is going to happen with this young man?
I don't know, really. He's like that around many years, and as long as he doesn't get really the media exposures and all that stuff, but they are protecting him well, and I think that group was selected group of really people who are interested about the phenomena and are members of the professional organization. And then he'll explain here all kind of things about sound, what he can do, and more he speaks, more baffling it all becomes, because it really is impossible. I've seen him demonstrate a device there with two speakers connected just with one wire between them, and from a center he took, you know, one wire which went straight via switch into a mono recorder. He played out of it stereo music. He can play it in both speakers as a mono, as a stereo, or just play each individual speaker.
Or select whatever speaker he wants.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
I think that we're just about done on our regular tape on here, which is now finishing up. Is there anything you want to add to this?
Not really. I feel that we have said enough, and it's very interesting. I'm planning to do further investigations, and Daniel is sort of preparing, you know, his toys, you know, for measurements and
all that. Well, this will be interesting, Jan. We'll have to keep in touch.
Sure.
On this. This is probably the most revolutionary tape that's ever been made, without a question. The young man is, Jan and I both have agreed that the only explanation for Danielle will be to understand first the phenomena of Leslie Lemke. To those of you who have never saw Lester Lemke, or in the May's Miracle, May Lemke's son, must realize that there is I think, a significance between a Lemke and a Danielle. No question about it. Anyway, we evidently have a phenomena that is probably one of the most unique of the 20th century. Without any question, you just saw things here that are completely impossible and impractical. And I want to thank Jan Merta for having narrated this for us. And we are now going to close this session.
Okay.
Ava Dirci.
May recalls the first time she heard of her foster son, Leslie.
We had bought this house, and some neighbor come up here and said, "Are you called Miss Lemke?" I said, yes. He said, well, there's a call here from a hospital about a baby or something like that. So I went down and listened, and they said, you're the only one that we could think of calling. Said you worked with these kind of children and everything, and we have a baby here that's going to die. And when I saw that poor little thing with its eyes out and everything, I took it.
Until 2 years ago, Leslie was unable to even talk. All his life, he's had great difficulty controlling his muscles. He can barely manage to dress or feed himself. Leslie is severely disabled, but there's something very special about him.
I said, this boy can't stand, and I'm going to drag him around. I said, so he feels what I'm doing. And he was getting on for 10 and 11 years old. And he was still so tiny. And I stood him by the fence, and he moved. And I saw him go like this. I said, come. Come on, baby. I says, come on to me. Because to me, he was just a baby. That's all he looked like. I said, come on, do another step. Just a step. Come on, walk. Come to me. And he took another step like this, you know, all shaky like this. And he stood like that.
Yes.
Yes.
Another thing May did right was to buy Leslie a musical instrument.
It was a second-hand piano. And I put it in there. And each night I would go in and clean like that, you know. Just me, I'd be doing that. I wasn't playing no music at all, just going up and down like that. And he was around 16 years old. He couldn't talk or walk or anything. And we went to bed, and we heard music. I couldn't believe it. And I said to Joe, I said, did you leave television on? And he said, no. And I got up, you know, thinking I was going to turn off some music. And that boy had got out of that bed. How he did it, I don't know. And he was playing that piano.
How and why Leslie could suddenly play a piano concerto that he had only heard is beyond explanation.
I said, oh, thank you, dear God, that you've remembered to do something for Leslie.
Everybody's beautiful.
The first time he sang was the most important thing I ever heard. He was singing and playing piano, but he couldn't talk with us. What was I doing that time? All the kids singing.
Everybody's beautiful in their own way.
Do you know that he did not cry until he was 18 years old? He was sat in that chair, and I saw a tear running down his cheek for the very first time, and I said, what is wrong with you? And he went like this, he says, I'm crying. And it was noises like, oh, like a child that was in the worst misery that had ever been with anybody, and he cried and cried.
What is